So today we're jumping into Matthew chapter 8. And at first glance, it might feel like a highlight reel of miracles, one right after the other. But if you look a little closer, you start to see that something else is going on. This chapter is actually building a case, a really powerful argument about a very specific kind of authority.
And that brings us to the big question that's really framing this whole explainer. What does absolute authority actually look like? I mean, how do you prove you have it? Is it about having the biggest army, political clout? Well, this chapter is going to give us this incredible three-part answer.
All right, so the first kind of authority we see is the most up-close and personal. It's power over the human body itself, over disease, over pain, over everything that makes us frail.
The whole thing kicks off with a man with leprosy. And we have to stop here for a second because this wasn't just a skin condition. In the ancient world, getting leprosy was basically a sentence of social death. You were unclean. You had to live outside the city, away from your family, cut off from everything. So to heal a leper wasn't just fixing their skin, it was like giving them their entire life back.
Now listen to how the man asks. He doesn't say, "Lord, if you're able." He has zero doubt about Jesus' power. The only question is his willingness. And Jesus' response is just immediate. He says, "I am willing." And then he does something absolutely shocking. He reaches out and touches the unclean man. The authority here isn't just in the miraculous healing, it's in the compassion that shatters all the social and religious rules.
So right after that very physical hands-on healing, the story completely flips the script. Now we're going to see authority demonstrated without any touch at all, just a word spoken from a distance. And the person who gets this, who really understands it, is the last person you'd ever expect.
Our expert on authority turns out to be a Roman centurion. Yeah, an officer in the army that's occupying their land. This is a guy whose entire life is built around a chain of command. He lives and breathes authority.
And his logic is just brilliant. He basically says to Jesus, "Look, I get how this works. I'm a man under authority myself, and I have soldiers under me. When I give an order, it just happens. My word has power." He realizes that his own authority comes from Rome, but Jesus' authority, that seems to come from a different place entirely. So he says, "You don't even have to come to my house, just say the word from here, and I know it'll be done."
And Jesus is just floored. He turns to the crowd and says that this foreigner, this soldier from the occupying force, has shown more faith, a deeper understanding of who he is than anyone he's met in all of Israel. And of course, the servant is healed in that exact moment, just like the centurion knew he would. Okay, so we've seen authority over the human body. Now, the narrative cranks it up a notch. We're moving on to authority over the raw, untamable forces of nature itself. So picture this. It's a totally normal scene. Jesus and his disciples are just crossing the lake in a boat, something they've probably done 100 times. And in the middle of all this, Jesus is just asleep, completely out.
And then, out of nowhere, this furious storm just explodes on the lake. We're told the waves are crashing over the boat. Now remember, a lot of these disciples are seasoned fishermen. This is their turf. But even they are terrified. They think they're going down, and the guide they've put all their faith in is sound asleep.
They scramble to wake him up, and their cry is just pure panic. No fancy prayers, just raw terror. "Lord, save us, we're gonna drown." You can feel the desperation. What Jesus does next is just incredible. He doesn't pray that the storm stops. He gets up and he rebukes it. He literally tells the wind and the waves off, like they're unruly children. And instantly, total silence. The text says it was completely calm. A single command brings absolute peace to the chaos. So we've had authority over the body, then over nature. And now we go to the third and final level, authority over the unseen world, over the spiritual realm, over forces that are completely beyond our control.
And this scene is straight up creepy. They come across two men who are possessed by demons, living out among the tombs. And these guys are so violent, so dangerous, that nobody even uses that road anymore. They've become a source of pure terror for the whole area.
Now here's the crazy irony. While Jesus' own disciples are still trying to figure out who he is, these demonic spirits, they know, instantly. They call him by his title, Son of God, and you can tell they're terrified because they know he has complete authority over them. What happens next is one of the weirdest conversations in the whole story. The demons know they're being kicked out. They basically try to negotiate a deal. They beg Jesus not to send them away, but to just let them go into a herd of pigs that's nearby. They're literally begging for permission.
And Jesus' response? It's just one word.
One, go. That's all he says. And with that single command, the spirits obey, they flood into the pigs, and this massive herd of animals goes rushing down the hill into the lake. Think about the incredible power unleashed by that one single word.
So, we've seen this undeniable display of authority, right? Over sickness, over nature, over the spirit world. Which brings us to the most important question of all. How do actual humans react when they come face to face with this kind of power? Well, it's not always simple. When one guy, a religious teacher, gets all excited and says, "Hey, I'll follow you wherever you go," Jesus hits him with this really sobering reality check. He basically says, "Are you sure? Because following me isn't about getting comfortable. It's about giving up everything."
And when you look at the chapter as a whole, you see this whole spectrum of human reactions. It's fascinating. You've got the centurion on one end with this incredible, unwavering faith. Then you have these potential followers who, hesitate when they realize the cost. In the middle, you have the disciples, who are just a mix of fear and total amazement. And then, all the way on the other end, you have the townspeople. After they see what happened with the demons, they're so freaked out by this power that they actually beg Jesus to just leave. They'd rather live with the evil they know than deal with a power they can't understand or control.
And all of this, every healing, every miracle, every reaction, has been carefully arranged to build up to one final, unavoidable question.
It's the question the disciples ask each other in the boat right after the storm goes dead silent. They look at each other and they whisper, "What kind of man is this? Even the winds and the waves obey him." The chapter shows us the evidence: power over the body, power over nature, power over the spirit realm. But it doesn't just hand us the answer. It leaves that question hanging there for us to answer for ourselves.